Welcome to Table for One. I'm the narrator, and in today's video, I'll be doing a solo playthrough of Anachrony. And in this video, I'm going to use all of the supported modules simultaneously, so as many as possible that are cross-compatible, which is technically a little more than the game itself supports, but you'll see how I manage it. So I'll be using alternate timelines, variable anomalies, neutronide buildings, sentry post, hypersync, quantum loops, Pioneers of New Earth, and Fractures of Time. And while I'm doing all that, I'll be debuting all of the new custom pieces available from Brain Bucket Games for Anachrony. Let's get rolling. Alright, so I am about to play a solo game of Anachrony. I don't know if I'm ready to play, but I'm as ready as I'm going to be. This is going to be a huge, massive game. So what I am doing in this video is a solo playthrough using all of the expansions that are supported with compatibility with each other. So I've got variable anomalies, the alternate timeline. Somewhere in here are the neutronide buildings. Then I have the main Fractures of Time expansion. I have quantum loops. I have hypersync. And I have Pioneers of New Earth. Oh, and I have the promo sentry post as well, that little mini expansion. So all of these things are supported as being compatible with each other, but what is not supported is using them all at the same time with the Chronossus. So I'm kind of pushing things beyond their normal limit. So I'll talk about how I set up the Chronossus board to try and make this work. The challenge level is going to be high, and with so much going on, I'm bound to make a mistake somewhere. So let me know in the comments if you find anything that's amiss. But the other thing I'm doing in this video is showcasing all of the new custom Anachrony components that the Etsy store that I co-own with a couple of friends that we've launched. So everything is finally done. I kept mentioning these things being worked on during my Season of Anachrony videos, but I'm going to show them all here in action. And at the same time as this video, I'm releasing an Etsy showcase video where all I do is show those components and talk about them in detail. But the first of those components is this energy core drawbag system. So it's this custom printed microfiber bag here, and then these are the tokens that we make. So we've got the charged and the exhausted energy cores. So 5 of each is what we start with in the bag. So that's how we're going to decide how many suits Chronossus gets. So we'll put those in there, mix them up real good. And then there are, of course, other charged energy cores that I'll be using throughout the game. And then because we're using Fractures of Time, we also have flux cores. So here is the microfiber bag for flux cores, and here are the cores. So Chronossus starts with 1 ready to use flux core and 3 exhausted ones. Those are clear. This one's purple. These are translucent pieces. They are super cool. It's going to be a little hard to tell on camera from this angle, but this is what starts in the bag. And then again, I've got more of the charged ready to go flux cores that I'll be using for myself. And the next piece is these custom paradox tokens, which are pretty nice. They've got a little bit of a whoops, sorry, punched my microphone. It's got a little bit of a 3D effect on both sides, and it's just kind of fun to play with them and make them do that. So you'll be seeing these in the video as well. This comes in a pack of 15. That is the most you can possibly use at any point with 4 players using all expansions. That's the most you could ever possibly use is 15. And then finally at the end of the game, you will finally see the finalized scoring dials. So these look pretty sweet. So we'll use these to add up the points at the end of the game. So I am playing as the Path of Progress. So they're kind of gold colored. So this is the gold one. That's the one I'll be using for my score. But there's one in each player color. So I grabbed for Chronossus the purple one. So we'll see those at the end. Additionally, a friend of mine in my gaming group allowed me to borrow some of his Anachrony stuff. So I am using the playmat in this video. This is the official Anachrony playmat. which is pretty nice. So I don't own this. I probably won't have it on the channel again, but this is super cool. So that's what you're seeing if you want to compare it to maybe the board that I've used in the other videos. And then my friend also has the minis and painted them, unlike my sad gray one. So here are the minis. They look really great. I'm going to be using them. So I'll obviously use the Path of Progress for myself, and I guess probably every era I'll just grab a different row for Chronossus just to kind of show them off because they're really nice. And I appreciate having the chance to use them, so thought I'd get them on the channel while I could. And so let's talk about the setup again real quick here. So I've done a combination of things here on the Chronossus board in order to make all of these expansions work together. So they're not supported this many at a time. Like for example, Fractures of Time and Hypersync, that's supported. Fractures of Time and Pioneers of New Earth, that's supported. Using all three at once, not supported. And the reason is because these action tiles, they would begin to cover up too many other spaces on the Chronossus board, and then Chronossus would kind of get gummed up and not be able to take its normal actions. So to get around that, I have made things extra hard on myself. First, all those tiles are on their B side. So for Hypersync, I've got C12 on the B side here on spot number 1. And then I've got C13 here on this time travel spot, again on the B side. So those are both for Hypersync. That's normal locations for those. For the Pioneers of New Earth, I've got C10 on its B side here, covering up this Recruit Genius / research action. That is where that normally goes, so I'm not doing too much damage there. C09 on the B side, also for Pioneers of New Earth. What I'm doing is this space here is build a super project, and I'm just doubling up that action space. So the way I'm playing this one is when the 3 marker gets there, if I roll a 3, Chronossus will try and build a super project. But if Chronossus cannot build a super project, instead of taking a failed action, they'll try and do this adventuring action and gain a victory point. And if they also can't do that, then they will take a failed action. So Chronossus may be doing the adventuring action a little less than normal with that setup. And then for Fractures of Time, I've got C14B on the 2 spot. That's pretty typical. I've got on the 3 spot C5B and C6B. I'm just combining them and using them both on that particular spot. So when there's a token here, which can only be the 5 token, when the 5 token's there and I roll it, Chronossus is going to go over here and take this action, which is again to gain for Chronossus 2 flux cores and 2 energy cores, and gain 2 more flux cores, and gain another energy core and a flux core. And let me take a look at the CO6 real quick. We'll flip this one to the A side because the B side just makes it an auto leap, and there's like so much going on there. I'm not going to make that one an auto leap. So that's C06 on the A side. So that's the way I'm kind of playing this. So I've got multiple things stacked up on a couple of spots, and that's going to make it real tough. I am anticipating a loss. Not because of complexity necessarily, but because I've got so much stuff out. I think I'm going to try and dabble a little bit in everything, and that's usually a recipe for failure. You're better off specializing in, one thing. But it's kind of like I'm the only one playing, and I set all this stuff up, so I'm darn well going to try and use it, So as I said, I'm playing as the Path of Progress. I am on the B side of the board here. For my leader, I have Patron Valerian, and so that special ability is all my scientists count as geniuses. My fracture device is on the B side, and then my evacuation condition card, that is on the A side, so I need to have 3 labs in order to evacuate, and then I gain a bonus 4 victory points for every 2 scientists plus breakthrough that I have. And I'll talk breakthroughs in a moment. I'm all set up. I've got 1 extra water because I am the second player, and I just need to roll because I start with 1 random breakthrough. So I left these out as a reminder. Let me roll for that breakthrough. And there was just no room for this dice tray anywhere, so I'll just have to hold it every time I need to roll. All right, so we have Circle and Society. So here's my starting breakthrough. So I think breakthroughs are going to be super, super, super important for me this game. 1, I'm going to need them for this evacuation scoring. 2, I'm going to want them on my fracture device. And 3, I'm going to want them to upgrade my exosuits. And then I just randomly drew the scoring cards, the end game scoring objectives. And I did include in there the extra ones that go with Fractures of Time and Pioneers of New Earth. I didn't happen to draw any of those. So there's scoring condition. The first one is for having super projects. The second is for having breakthroughs, which again, now I want a lot of breakthroughs. And the third is for the time travel track. And then also when I set up these super projects, I mixed in the ones, I've got 6 of them. There's 5 for Fractures of Time, plus 1 was a promo. So those 6 were mixed in, as well as there's 1 for the quantum loops, and that one was mixed in as well. I don't know if any of them, all of them, none of them are actually going to be in play here. We'll find out as we go. And so I think I am ready to start this crazy thing. This is certainly folly. And as I said, I expect to lose, but I'm going to have a darn good time doing it. So let's get started. We are in Era 0. So the only thing we have is the warp phase. Oh, and I've got my building stacks here and my quantum loop cards here, but I should reveal one more super project as well. Okay. So that's how we start. We start with the warp phase. I need to choose what I'm going to do before Chronossus rolls. Ooh, and you know what? I've got this society breakthrough, and this future blueprints uses a society breakthrough to pay it back. Maybe I would like that. And I forgot I need breakthroughs for these too. I'm going to need so many breakthroughs. I need to take the research action like twice every era. At least if I'm going to make this work. Well, I think maybe I'll warp in 2 things this era. I think I want neutronium because I probably want to build a power plant pretty early on. I'm going to need neutronium for that. And then, I don't know, maybe an engineer because I want to build something probably quickly and I don't want to waste an action waking up the engineer that I have. So I'm going to play these 2 and let's roll for Chronossus. So I need the paradox die here to see how many warp tokens Chronossus will play. 2. Oh, okay. That's good. So that means we will both have to roll for paradoxes, not just me, because we're going to be tied on that Era 0. So Chronossus doesn't actually get anything. I gain a neutronium and an engineer, and I have to pay 1 water. So here's my neutronium and my engineer. And that is it for Era 0. So now we prep for Era 1. I've already done the mines and the workers, but let's reveal the next super project. I really like Tectonic Drill. We got to shift all these building stacks. That one goes, that one goes. All of them shift. And we have to shift our technology card as well, which I called these experiment cards the entire playthrough. Last time I used them, they are technology cards. Let's remember that this time. Okay, so we've done our preparation. Now we are in the paradox phase for Era 1. So Chronossus needs to roll for paradoxes first. We're both tied on Era 0. 2 warp tiles to 2 warp tiles, so we're each going to roll, starting with Chronossus because they're the first player. 1. Okay, 1 paradox for Chronossus, and now let's roll for myself. Also 1. Okay, so we each get one of these sweet new paradox tokens. Feel pretty good about getting them because they look so cool. So next we go to the power-up phase. So Chronossus will start with 3 suits, but I need to use the draw bag to determine how many additional suits to add. All right, so let's draw 3 tokens out of the bag. We'll maybe do this over here. So we've got a charged energy core, an exhausted energy core, and I need 1 more. Charged. So 1 exhausted core goes back in the bag. All other cores are removed. So that's going to be 5 total suits for Chronossus. Oh, but before I do that, I've already made my first mistake. I skipped a step. let me read this to you because this is pretty niche. But when playing the Fractures of Time expansion with Pioneers of New Earth, after the Era 0 warp phase, each player may choose to spend 1 of their titanium, uranium, or gold to upgrade the power of their exosuit as though they had taken a power upgrade action in that era. So basically, I can take one of these basic resources and place it here on my upgrade board for free after Era 0. So let's do that with a titanium. Let's put a titanium here, and now my power goes up by 3. And Chronossus has no resources, so I'm going to skip that for Chronossus. Maybe an unfair advantage to me, but Chronossus has a lot going on. And also, for reference, I've used the A side of the exosuit upgrade board for Chronossus rather than the B side because I feel like I need a little help here. So, okay, Chronossus gets 5 suits, and we'll give Chronossus the Path of Harmony suits for Era 1. I don't know where I'm going to put these things, but here, I'll try and show it off here. It is pretty cool looking. There we go. They're all just milling about over there. And now I need to power up, and I think I'll at least take 3, so let me grab those. So 1 there, 1 there. I'm taking the 3 free ones. I'll show one of these off as well. Looks real nice. Certainly better than anything I would do. A little jealous. So okay, there's the 3 of those. Do I want to power up any more than that? I think yes. I think I want 1 more suit. I'm going to pay an energy core for that. And so there's a glitch here, but this spot is open, so I gain 1 water. Back up to 4. And now we're at the warp phase for Era 1. So Chronossus will likely place 1 warp tile here, and Chronossus always gains 2 victory points as the reward. So I probably want to place 1 to try and get 1 victory point. I don't have much to be gained by placing 2. The chances are equal that Chronossus will place 0 or 2. If they place 2, well, then I get nothing, but that's okay. If they place none, I don't know. I think the benefit of trying to get those 2 VP is outweighed by the negative effect of gaining an extra paradox token if it goes that way. And you know what? Forget it. I am going to use this quantum loop. Let's start with that. So let's roll and see what Chronossus does for the warp phase. So that's this one here. 1. All right, that went about the way I thought it would. So Chronossus places a warp tile here, gains 2 victory points. So we'll keep those over here. And now I place my quantum loop tile here, and I gain 1 victory point. So I'll place mine down at the bottom. And now I can gain a quantum loop card here. And I'm going to take future blueprints. So the immediate effect is I pick one of the main building stacks and I look at the bottom 5 tiles and then immediately build one of those with a 1 titanium discount. And so I think I'm going to go with a power plant early on. Let's do that. So from the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll just set the stack over here for a moment. So what 5 tiles did I get, and where in the world can I put these to look at them? So I've got 102, so that's 3 victory points, put any worker there, and time travel 2 spaces back. 101, 4 victory points, any worker, time travel 1 era back. 109, 2 victory points, send a scientist and spend a neutronium, go 3 eras back and gain 2 victory points. Got 103. These are all like early on in the stack. 3 victory points. It's the same as this one. And I've got 107. Spend a uranium. 3 victory points. Go back 3 eras and gain a victory point. Well, I'm not super in love with any of those, really. I was hoping I'd get something a bit more strong. And I definitely don't want to be spending a bunch of neutronium. That's going to be hard to maintain. Going only 1 era back is kind of niche this early in the game. This one's fine. So that's kind of neutral. This one, I like that I can go a little bit further back than this one and gain a victory point, but I don't love spending the uranium because I know I need to fill up my labs, and those are going to cost uranium. And again, I need to fill my labs for my evacuation, so that's pretty important. So I think I'm going to go with this one. 102 and 103 are the same. I'm going to build 103. So that's going to go right here. These remaining 4 get shuffled up and then just placed back at the bottom of the stack. So we're not going to get that far down. Doesn't really matter, but they're shuffled. Place them here. So I don't know the order. And then place the stack back in the tray. So to build this, I need to spend a neutronium, 1 titanium because I do get a discount, 1 gold, and 1 water. So I'm in a little bit of a resource crunch already, but I've got 1 building, so I can time travel back to era 0, and that's pretty nice at this point in the game. So we slide these down, and that is it for the warp phase of era 1. So that means we're going into action rounds, and Chronossus starts. This is going to be a whole thing. A little daunting, but let's start with Chronossus's first roll. We've got a 3. Okay, so where is Chronossus going to go? The 3 is construct life support. So there's no suits on the board. We're not going to be blinking there. So let's take a suit, go to the construct space, and I need to add an energy core there. That is a reminder that this suit is blink ready. And then Chronossus will construct a life support. This one's worth 3 VP, and this one is worth 1. So Chronossus will take this one. And then we advance the token. Okay, so we have officially begun. I am going to start by going to the mines. I'm going to send an admin. So my admin will go to one of these spaces at the mines. I feel like I've got to take the neutronium, and I really need the titanium too. So remember, these are infinite. I gained 1 titanium and this 1 neutronium. Here's the titanium. So now I can afford to take this build action so long as I use an engineer. And I can also time travel back and pay back this neutronium, which would be nice. So that was my turn. Now it is back to Chronossus. So we need to roll, grab this die here, roll it. And we have a 3 again. So this would be the hypersync action. But Chronossus does not have a hypersync tile to retrieve, so instead it will take the normal time travel action. So it's going to take back 1 warp tile from its furthest back era, or I should say the era with the most warp tiles in the past, and if tied, the furthest back. And then advance on the time travel track and gain a victory point. Now we advance that token. Okay, so now it's my turn, and I'm going to take an engineer. Let's get suited up, and we're going to go here to this construct space. So I need to spend 1 water to go there. So here's the water, and I'm going to construct the first lab that I need. So that's going to cost me 1 uranium, 1 titanium with the engineer, and 1 water. So resources are just about empty here. But now I can gain a lab, and I'm going to gain this one, which allows me to hold an extra paradox token. So that's really nice, especially being on the B side of progress here. I can hold, I get an anomaly after 4 instead of 3 paradoxes. Now I can have get an anomaly on my 5th. So that'll really put off the anomalies. That's helpful. Ooh, and look at that one. I want that too. Okay, but that was my turn. So now it's back to Chronossus, who still has 4 suits and a blink ready suit. So let's roll for Chronossus. And we have a 3. Again, this die only rolls 3s today. So Chronossus would like to take this action here. And Chronossus does have a blink ready suit. So let's draw from the bag to see if Chronossus blinks. So if we get the 1 full flux core here, then Chronossus will blink. We have a blank. So the blank gets set aside until the end of the era. When we do the preparation phase for the next era, we add the blanks back to the bag. So that's essentially Chronossus choosing not to blink. And then we will take a suit and go here. And then we're going to roll this die to see which action Chronossus takes. So a circle is to gain an operator, a triangle is to gain a technology, and a square is like tiebreaker. So I'll go through that if we roll a square. But let's roll. We got a triangle, so let's check the rules on that. So on triangle, Chronossus takes a technology card, preferring the secondary stack. And you know what? That makes sense. I'm not treating this like the building stacks. This should be face up. Let's just take the whole stack and flip it over so they're all face up. That makes it a little easier. So we'll go here. So Chronossus prefers a secondary stack, so blink suppression bypass goes away. That's too bad. That's a really cool one. And where in the world am I going to keep this? Chronossus does not interact with it at all. They just get points at the end of the game. So this technology is just 3 victory points. I guess let's keep them up there and we'll just stack them up. And we don't need to put an energy core here because it's not blink ready. Suits can only jump off of the main board and onto sideboards or elsewhere onto the main board, but cannot jump off of the secondary boards unless there's some sort of unique ability that allows you to do that, such as blink suppression device, that technology that Chronossus just got. But again, Chronossus does not interact with those technologies. They just keep them for points. But if I had grabbed that, I could have had the ability to jump off of this valley board. So anyway, that was the assimilate action. And then according to that tile, Chronossus also gains 1 flux core and 1 victory point. So here's the victory point, and here's the flux core. We add it to the flux bag. There we go. And now we can advance the token. And I can take my next turn. And I'm going to take a scientist, go to suit, and take this research action. So I'm going to leave this die set to the society face, and I'm just going to roll the shape. Because if I get another, I plan to use this one to pay back these future blueprints. So if I get another one, I could use it here or here. And that's it. I guess there's not really much to think about. So roll that. We've got a circle. Okay, so exactly the same one. So I don't mind. That honestly makes it a little bit easier to stomach spending this back here because I can't use the same thing twice. And I kind of haven't even really looked at the super projects much. There is so much going on. So Chronossus gets to go again. Let's roll the die. What is that? We have a 5. Okay, so Chronossus is going to, Chronossus is going to recruit. I was thinking that would be my next action, so that's not super fun. So there is a blink ready suit that could recruit. Let's draw from the bag to see if Chronossus chooses to use it. I think 50-50 chance right now, if I remember correctly. But we got another blank, so not blinking. So let's grab the suit and go to the recruit space, and we'll add a energy core to show this suit is blink ready. And we grab looking at the priority list, we grab an engineer. And anytime Chronossus recruits, they gain a victory point. So let's take these 4 and replace it with a 5. So here's the 5 token. And what was that? That was a 5. So now we advance this. And now it's back to me. And I kind of want to stall a little bit and see if Chronossus maybe blinks that suit away so I could take that spot. So what I'm going to do is send a scientist here to take this time travel action. So there's no additional cost. I can go back up to 2 eras. So let's put my focus back here to era 0 and pay back this neutronium. So I get my warp tile back. And then I advance my time travel space. Okay. My first few spaces are not worth very much, but hey, it's something. So Chronossus goes again. Let's roll 2. So that means Chronossus is going to construct, and specifically a power plant. So there are blink ready suits available. The only place that could construct is the that spot right there, that World Council space. And this suit could not jump up there to take that action because by going there, it would open up that spot and make the construct action not available. So the only blink ready suit that could go is this one, which is what I wanted, which is nice. So let's actually hope for a blink this time. And the odds are in my favor. There's only one more blank flux core in there. Oh, and we got the blank. Oh, man. Okay, so there's 2 charged flux cores in this bag and no more blanks. That was actually a little bit unlucky. So Chronossus goes here, remains the first player, takes a construct action to get a power plant. 4 victory points, 2 victory points. They're taking this one. And we advance the token. And now it's back to me. That's too bad. I would have really liked to go take the recruit action with this suit and this admin. Well, Chronossus might go to the mines if they roll a 2, and I definitely need resources because I'm kind of out of everything. So I think I'm going to blink this engineer over to the mines. So to do that, I need to place my flux core here on my fracture device, and then I need to roll this die and the glitch die here. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 open spaces. So there's nothing I can roll that's going to give me a glitch, but I'll do it anyway for completeness. So I rolled a 4, and had I got a glitch, that would have taken an exosuit bay. So no glitch. I'm going to blink this suit over to one of these 2 spaces, and I think I'll make it this one. I'll take a uranium and this titanium, and then this engineer comes back motivated because they're coming back from here, from the mines. So there's the uranium, there's the titanium. That was my turn. So we go back to Chronossus. We roll and get a 3. So Chronossus would like to build a super project, but does not have any breakthroughs. So that's not going to happen. So per my own interpretation or my own made up setup instructions here, instead of performing the build super project and instead of taking the failed action, Chronossus is going to do the adventure action. And there are blink ready suits on the board. So we're going to draw out of this bag, and we know we've already drawn all the blank ones. So Chronossus will definitely blink. There we go. So that's going to get spent. So that goes away. And which suit's going to blink? Well, we look at the tokens that are here. Chronossus could construct, go to the mines, or do a research. And so Chronossus would rather free up this construct action. We know Chronossus is not going to recruit. That's not coming up on the board here. So they don't care about blocking that space, but they'll take this one. So this is the one they're going to blink. Let's remove this core, this energy core, to show that this suit has blinked, and we're going to blink it over to here. So Chronossus does place a path marker here and gain 2 power plus whatever's on its board over there, which right now is, it has no upgrades, but it starts with 2. So Chronossus is up to 4 power. The threshold is 9. If it has more than 9, or if it's 9 or higher, it takes from this stack, but it's only got 4. So it's going to take 2 cards from that stack, and then we'll roll the adventure die. So 1, 2, these 2 cards. So the requirement numbers are 9 and 5, and we roll the adventure die. Oops, I'm knocking stuff over. So it's starting at a power level of 4. And we add 1 onto that, so 5. And then it takes the card with the highest value whose criteria it meets, and that's going to be this 5 here. So it gains first 1 of any resource of the basic types, and it prioritizes their uranium, so it'll grab one of those. And it gets 1 admin, so that is going to go here. And now the unselected card goes to the bottom of the deck. Everything is so far away. And the card that was selected just gets completely removed from the game. Chronossus doesn't care to keep it. So then, according to this tile, in addition to that, Chronossus gains 1 victory point. So I think the slaughter has begun here. All right, we advance the token, and now it's back to me. And you know what? Looking at the board, I am seeing an opportunity. I see a crime of opportunity. I am pushing my resources way too thin, but I'm going to take this engineer, get in the suit, and take a construct action since that spot is open. And I'm going to build a life support, which will cost 1 uranium and only 1 titanium because I've sent an engineer. And now I'm going to take this life support. There's the neutronide life support. But this goes here, so I can send an admin there and get 5 water. And I'm not using admins for a heck of a lot right now, so that's probably good. So now we're back to Chronossus again. So let's roll. And we have a 4. That means Chronossus would like to construct a factory. And there is 1 blink ready suit that could come to this space, so we're going to draw. And it's the last token in the bag, and we know that it's full. So there you go. Chronossus is going to blink from here to here. Now that I've used that suit, they're going to open up that spot for me. So we'll take this off the board. That's no longer a blink ready suit. And Chronossus builds a factory. This one's worth 2 VP and this one's worth 1. So they will take this one. Okay. And then we advance the 4 token, and this is an auto leap space. So Chronossus would like to retrieve a hypersync tile, but that is not possible because there's not one out there right now. And man, I kind of forgot those were a thing. I should maybe use one. But because Chronossus can't do that, Chronossus will take a normal time travel action instead. So Chronossus will remove this warp tile from the timeline, you sneaky robot, and advance the time travel track. And what else? Also gain 1 energy core. So 1 of these going back into this bag. And now we advance the 4 token again. Down to that mining spot. Okay. my turn, and I forgot all about these. Maybe I should use one. That will probably lead to extra paradox rolls for me and not Chronossus, but I've got a lot of spaces for paradox tokens, so maybe I can kind of push that, because I need to push something, because I'm definitely behind. So yeah, I'm going to use Hypersync to recruit, and I am going to recruit a scientist. And so that worker comes from the supply. So they're going to come right here, and I still gain 2 water. So here's the water, and now Chronossus can go. So we roll again. 5. So Chronossus is going to research. And there are no blink ready suits, so Chronossus will just have to use a regular suit and go here. And now we'll just roll both of these to determine what kind of breakthrough Chronossus gets. So we've got a military triangle. So one of these goes here. Now advance the 5 token to that space. And it's back to me. Can I do anything else right now? Well, you know what I can? I can do a few things. One, I can send this admin here and gain 5 water. So here's my 5 water. I feel decent about that. Now back to Chronossus. Let's roll. We have a 3. So that would be, spend resources to remove an anomaly. But Chronossus does not have an anomaly yet, so that's going to be a failed action. So the failed action earns it 1 victory point. Then we advance the 3 token, and it comes back to me. And I'm going to force awake my workers, so morale goes down. I gain my engineer and my operator. That was my free action. And now I'm going to send my operator here and spend 2 water. And now I can remove 2 glitch tokens. So 1, 2. Let's try and prevent some of those glitches. So we're back to Chronossus again. And I think we're going to see it pass. But let's roll and just double check. So we've got a 4. Chronossus would like to go to the mines, but it doesn't have any more suits, and it doesn't have any blink-ready suits, so it cannot go to the mines. And so Chronossus passes instead, and we leave the token where it is, and it goes back to me. And let me take a look. What are these upgrades like? 2, 4, 6 victory points. I don't know if that's as useful as going here. Yeah, I think I'm going to send a scientist here, and it costs 1 water. So let's pay that. And now I can add a breakthrough here as long as it's a unique shape, and I don't have any there, and gain 2 victory points. So that'll encourage me to do a little adventuring, I think. And I don't think there's anything else I could do, so now I will pass. Oh man, and there's so much going on. I forgot until just now that my scientists count as geniuses. I probably had some different options for some of the actions I took, but that's okay. So we're going to go to the cleanup phase. I'm going to retrieve all my workers, and don't forget, in all 3 of these lanes, so everything but life support, scientists come back motivated, so that's super helpful. And then it's not time for impact or the end of the game, so we'll go to the next era. I'll do the preparation phase for era 2, so I'll refill the mine and the recruit pools. I'll reveal the next super project. I'll shift the building stacks, including the anomaly stack and the technology stack. And then it'll be time for paradox rolling, so I'll get that set up, and I will see you there. All right, and I'm back for Era 2. A couple other things I didn't mention. I also needed to, during the preparation phase, add another quantum loop card. I needed to add the 3 blank flux cores back into the bag. And one thing that I have forgotten was to give the Chronossus an opportunity to gain quantum loop cards. So I will try to rectify that as best I can in this paradox phase here. Or I guess warp phase rather. But we start with the paradox phase. If we look at what I've got 1 warp tile here in era 0, and Chronossus has none, so I've got the most. Here, because I have at least 1, my hypersync tile also counts, which makes it 2 to 1, so only I roll here. And because I have the most hypersync tiles, I roll an extra time. So I roll 3 times, and Chronossus does not roll any. So I can't imagine anything good will come of this, but let's roll 3 times for me. Got a blank. Oh, that's really helpful. 1. And 1. Okay, so 2 more paradoxes for me. I feel okay about it for only 2 reasons. 1, because I'm playing as House of Progress, and 2, because these tokens are so cool. So I'm going to put this one down here on that space. So that's it for paradoxes. Now we go to power up. Chronossus is first, and we'll start with 3 suits, and we've got to draw 3 tokens from the energy core bag. So I'll shake these up a bit, and we've got a exhausted energy core and a second exhausted core and a charged core. So 1 exhausted core goes back into the bag, and then the rest of these go away. So that's going to be 4 suits total for Chronossus. And we'll go with the Path of Salvation this time. And I'll show you the mini again. Pretty sweet looking. I know, I'm jealous. Okay, and now I get to power up. And for starters, I will certainly take the 3 free suits. What else am I going to do? I don't know. I'm going to use 1 energy core to power up 1 more suit, I guess. And then I gain 2 water. 1, 2. And now we're at the warp phase again. Chronossus will likely place 1. So I don't want to place just 1. I want to place 2 to try and get something to double. And if Chronossus happens to place 2, even better. And if Chronossus places none, then these will just sort of cancel out, and that'll be that. And so I think the 2 that I'll play are Titanium and Flux Core. I think that's what I want for now, although doubling up on a Scientist would be really cool. But no, I'll stick with this. So let's roll for Chronossus and see how many warp tiles they're going to place. So we need this die here. Blank. None. Okay. Well, then these don't really matter. I can raise my morale track and then lower my morale track. So that's a wash. I gain 1 titanium and 1 flux core. So here are those. And then in this era, in era 0 and in era 1, both of those eras, Chronossus did place a warp tile. And whenever Chronossus places at least 1, we roll this die, and if it's a 4, then they gain a quantum loop. So we're just going to make up for those 2 rolls now. So this is the era 0 roll, 2, and this is the era 1 roll, 4. Okay, so Chronossus does gain a quantum loop card, and they take the furthest one to the right, the furthest from the stack. And during era 1, that would have been this one, and it definitely would not have been this one, so I didn't break anything that way. But let's take the one that they should have taken, in which case at the start of this era, we should have had 1 more. So we'll do that. And this one is just out of the game. Chronossus does not interact with it, but it won't come back. So kind of similar to the adventure card that it got earlier. So I knew with this much stuff going on, I would make some mistakes, but I think I'm kind of doing okay. And at least that one turned out all right. I kind of made up for it. So the warp phase is over. Now we go to the action rounds, and we start with Chronossus, the first player. So let's roll for Chronossus and see what kind of crazy damage they're going to do. 3. So that is build another life support. And obviously they're not blinking at this time. So we're going to construct right here. This is technically a blink ready suit, even though they don't have any charged flux cores in the bag. And now of the life support, these are both worth 1 victory point. So Chronossus prefers the secondary stack. There goes the neutronium life support. Or neutronide, I'm sorry, the neutronide life support building. And now we advance the 3 token. And I get to go. And Chronossus has a 50-50 chance of going to the mines with a 4 and a 2 on that spot. So maybe I should preemptively go to the mines. So I will take a engineer, go in a suit, and I think I'm going to go to this top spot and gain a uranium and this neutronium. There's the uranium. The neutronium's a little bit of a blocking action. I don't want Chronossus to get it, and it's always handy to have, so like to have the option. So Chronossus goes now. So let's roll. And we rolled a 4, so Chronossus will go to the mines as well. Technically, they've got a blink-ready suit, so we've got to draw because there's tokens in the bag, but we know they're all blank, so Chronossus does not blink, and then sends a new suit, and takes the topmost spot, and is going to gain this gold and this titanium, because those are both empty. So here's the gold. There we go, and we advanced the 4 token, and now it's back to me. And I just noticed I left this path marker out on the adventuring board from Era 1 and Chronossus, so I'll grab that back. And for my turn, I'm going to force awake my workers again, so decrease the morale track, move everybody over to the awake side. So that's an operator, 2 admins, 1 engineer, and 2 more scientists. And now I'm going to put an operator in a suit and take the research action. So what do I want to do? Let's get a different symbol. I'll leave this on the military symbol and roll the shape die. So let's roll. We have a circle. Okay. So here's my breakthrough. So that means I could use that here to upgrade my fracture device, but I cannot use it here to upgrade the sensors on my exosuit because we've already got a circle there. But I could potentially use it to construct the tectonic drill. So I've got some okay options there. Back to Chronossus. So we need to roll. We have a 5 this time. So Chronossus would like to construct a power plant. And they do have a blink ready suit, but it's on the construct spot. Oh, but this one should be blink ready as well. So we do need to draw for that suit, see if it blinks. Of course it cannot because this is empty. It's called an empty flux casing. So they're going to have to use a regular suit. And go here and construct. This one is worth 1 victory point. This one is worth 2. So they will take from the secondary stack for the 2 victory points and advance the token. So it's up on that space there. It is not an auto leap space, but when they roll a 5, they're going to go here. They're going to get a ton of flux cores and some energy cores, and the bags are really going to develop at that point. So for my turn, I am going to blink. So I'm going to place a flux core here on the leftmost open space on my fracture device, and I'm going to blink this operator. So I don't need to roll for glitches because I'm using an operator. And I'm going to blink here onto the valley board and recall the operator so they come back here. So I'm taking this action and I can either gain 2 flux cores or 2 energy cores. And I'm going to take 2 flux cores. Okay, back to Chronossus, who also has this blink ready suit too, don't forget that. So all right, we will roll for Chronossus, who has a 3. So they would like to retrieve a hypersync tile. They cannot, so they will do a normal time travel action. So the only option is to retrieve that warp tile there, and that's a successful time travel. And then also gain a victory point, and then we advance the token. All right, back to me, and I'm going to take a scientist and send them to the mines, which is a little bit of an unusual action, but my scientists count as geniuses. So I'm going to go here, I gain 1 titanium, and then I will also take a gold. So here's the titanium. Now it's back to Chronossus. We need to roll again. So we roll a 3. Chronossus wants to take the assimilate action. And again, they technically have blink ready suits and a core in the bag, but it's another blank. So now the bag's empty. They're not going to blink, and they send a suit here. And now we need to roll for the action they select. So we use the shape die for this. And we have circle. So on circle, Chronossus recruits an operator and gains 1 flux core. So here's the flux core, goes into the bag. So now that's the only token in there. Now when they draw, they're guaranteed to blink. That's why we continue to draw those previously to get down to this state. And the operator is going to come off of here and take the highest unoccupied spot over there, so the genius spot. It acts as a wild. And then looking at the 3 token there, Chronossus also gains another flux core and a victory point. So second flux core here into the bag, victory point as well, and then advance the 3 token. All right, so I am going to spend this token, free action token here, and spend a water. And I can take 2 flux cores off of my fracture device. And for my next action, I'm going to blink. And I will blink this engineer up to this construct space. So that'll, I could take a construct action. That'll cost me 2 water. And I become the first player. And I think the order of events is pretty important here. I'm going to construct that tectonic drill. the super project in this era where my focus is. So that's going to cost me 3 titanium minus 1 because I've got the engineer. So that's 2 titanium and 1 gold. Okay, I've got that. And I need to pay an engineer. So this one goes away. And also this military circle breakthrough. So all these go away. I hope that was wise. I've paid the cost. I get this super project. I put it as far left as possible. That's going to be right here. So now every time I go to the mines, I also gain an additional gold, uranium, or titanium of my choice. And then that'll get me 6 points at the end of the game. So that's pretty useful too. And I didn't roll for the glitch, but it doesn't really matter. I'll do it just for completeness. I rolled a 3. I've got more than 3 open spaces there, so I'm okay. And now it's back to Chronossus. So let's roll for Chronossus and see what happens. We've got a 3. So Chronossus would like to build a super project, but there is no construct space available. So that means Chronossus is going to place a hypersync tile to take a construct action. And so it will spend this breakthrough that it has, this military triangle, and it'll take the super project from the present or past era worth the most victory points furthest in the past if tied. So that's going to be this one, temporal tourism. So that's 6 victory points. That's a really good one. Maybe I should have done that early on, but that's okay. Tectonic drill is good too. Oh, and also I blinked. This engineer needs to come back tired. All right. So because Chronossus was successful with its construct super project, I'm not going to resolve the adventure token. That's the way I've set this up. And it looks like I'm going to be 1 flux core short for all the stuff I wanted to do. Which that's too bad, but okay. I'm going to take an admin, put them in a suit, and go here to the mine. So that's going to get me a uranium, and we'll grab a gold. And then with tectonic drill, I can grab one of any basic resource, and I'll take a titanium. So there's the uranium, and there's the titanium. So I feel okay about that. And now let's roll for Chronossus again. So this time we get another 3. Chronossus would like to remove an anomaly but doesn't have one to remove. So instead, it's a failed action. They gain a victory point. There's 4 1s there, so let's add a 5 and grab these back and advance the 3 token. And back to me again. Man, I wish I had more suits and more flux cores. There's just never enough. So I'm going to use my construct hypersync tile so I can construct something for a 1 titanium discount. And so I'm going to do another power plant, I think. So that's going to cost a neutronium, only 1 titanium because I've got a discount, 1 gold, and 2 water. So let's spend these. And I'm going to take this one off the stack here. So that allows me to immediately remove a warp tile from the timeline. And I'll take this one back from era 0. Even though I wouldn't mind paying back the engineer, I need to clear that up so I'm not getting a ton of paradoxes. And now we roll for Chronossus' turn again, who's taken a lot of turns considering they didn't have any suits. They've rolled a 5, so they would like to go to do the extract action, and it is available. They're going to have to blink, so we draw from this bag. We know it's a good flux core. There's 2 of them in there. There we go. So we take 1 out, and they're going to prefer this bottom row. So they're going to blink with this suit here, and that spot is obviously taken. So they're going to go here to this spot instead. And when Chronossus does this, they gain both. So let's start with the energy cores. 2 energy cores plus, because of the wacky stuff I'm doing there, a 3rd energy core. So here's 3 of these into the bag. And then 2 flux tokens plus another 2 plus another 1. So 5 flux tokens. So those are going into here. That is going to change the dynamic a little bit. And then we advance the 5 token. Okay, that was something. So I'm going to send a scientist here on this time travel space, on this power plant. I'll go back 1 era. I can go back up to 2. So let's go back to here, and I'm going to pay back this society breakthrough. And now this quantum loop card goes back on the timeline, so I can retrieve this warp tile and advance my time travel track. That's only the 2nd time I've done that, huh? All right. And now Chronossus goes again. 4. So Chronossus would like to construct a lab. And so they do have 1 blink-ready suit that could jump to that space. So we draw from the bag. We know it's a good one. They're blinking. So they're going from the mines to this construct space here, get rid of this core. And the 2 labs are both worth 4 victory points. So they prefer the secondary stack. That was a good one. I almost got it. It was either going to be that or this power plant. And I may have made a mistake. I don't know. But now we advance the 4 token. And what am I going to do? I am going to blink. So I'm going to place a flux core here. And I'm using this admin, so I do need to roll, but I know I'm not getting a glitch. That's not possible, but just for the completeness of it, rolled a 4. I've got 5 empty spaces, so no glitch for me. Path of progress, pretty cool. So I'm going to jump or blink from here to this space, and I am in focus here in era 2, or era 1, I'm sorry, and I'm setting an admin here so I can retrieve this hypersync tile. And I gain 2 victory points, and then the admin comes back here, tired from a long day of mining and blinking. I have 3 victory points already, so let's replace those with a 5. So we're going back to Chronossus again. This might go for a long time. I'm scared. 2. Chronossus would like to go to the mines, and they certainly can. So I've got 1 blink-ready suit. We draw from the bag, get one of these tokens out. So this suit can blink. It'll go to the topmost spot that it can. And it's just going to take the 2 uranium. So here's the second uranium. And we advance the 2, and that is an auto leap space. So Chronossus would like to retrieve a hyperlink or hypersync tile, but cannot because that has to be retrieved from the past, and they only have one in the present. So then they would like to time travel as an alternative option, but they have no warp tiles to take back. So that is a failed action. I gain 1 victory point for that. And they also gain an energy core, because yeah, that's what I needed. So the energy core goes in the bag, and advance that token again. Okay, and somehow I've still got actions left, huh? Well, I'll send an admin here, gain 5 water. That's never a bad thing. And back to Chronossus. No more blink-ready suits, so this reign of terror may be coming to an end. Rolled a 2. That would be recruit. They have no way to recruit. So Chronossus is finally going to pass, but unfortunately it looks like I'm going to pass as well. I don't think I have anything else I can do. So I'd really wanted to get over to that adventure board this time, but I wasn't able to. I ran out of flux cores. So I'd like to maybe make an effort to do that soon. But I do need more flux cores. I need energy cores. Impact's coming. I'm nowhere ready for the evacuation conditions. I'm doing a lot of things, but I don't know if any of it makes sense. It's looking grim. But that's okay. We're going to do the cleanup phase and then the preparation phase for Era 3, and then I will see you when it's time to roll paradoxes. Here we go. All right, so here we are in Era 3. I don't know what's happening here. Oh, but I do need to take these 3 flux cores and put them back in this bag. 3 blanks. I can't make heads or tails of what's going on, but I am certain I am way behind. We start with the paradox phase, and I am first player now. I need to roll once for having the most warp tiles in this era. So it's really 1, 2, 3 to 0, because this only counts if you have at least 1 on the timeline. So 3 to 0. So I roll once there, and then we are tied for the total number of hypersync tiles. So we each roll once for that. So I roll twice. Chronossus rolls once. I start. I only have room for 1 more paradox token. And I rolled a 2. So that's it for me. All right, let's roll for Chronossus since we're here. 1, okay? So why don't I just give Chronossus this one? And I can clear mine with all this paradox absorbing ability. I still got an anomaly, and I think I'll take this one. I really don't like it. And I got to place it as far left as possible. So we'll put on the life support track because I really need to build these. So this says it's pre-impact, so I can remove a warp tile from the timeline. And let's take this one right here, the flux one. And so during the cleanup phase, I either have to spend 3 water or decrease my morale track as long as I have that anomaly. So I'd like to get rid of it probably soon. And now we go to the power up phase, and I'm first this time. So let me grab my 3 free suits. 1, 2, 3. I don't really need the water so much, but I don't have the energy cores or the extra resources to go around spending, especially knowing that impact is coming. Yuck. So I don't know. I'm going to have to figure it out. I'm going to spend a uranium and I'm going to spend an energy core. And I get 2 more suits. And then I gain 1 water for the empty spot. I don't know if that made sense, but it's what I did. Now we draw for Chronossus, who again starts with 3. Draw 3 tokens. Shake these up real good. Okay, so we've got 1 core, 1 exhausted core, 1 charged core. So the exhausted goes back in the bag. The 2 charged one goes away. That's going to be 5 suits for Chronossus. And we'll go with the Path of Dominance this time. Let me show you this. Oopsie. Show you this one here. Very nice looking as well. All right, so 5 of those. All right, that's a lot of suits. Just a lot of suits all around. So now we've got the warp phase, and I'm first. And I don't really want to put 2 out there, but I'm going to. I'm going to do neutronium and a flux core. So I place mine first. I'll put the neutronium here. That'll get me a victory point as well. And here's the flux core. So here's the victory point, the flux core, and the neutronium. And now let's roll for Chronossus to see how many warp tiles they're going to place. Whoa, that's gone. All right, let's try that again. Let's roll. We've got 2. Okay, 2 warp tiles for Chronossus. So I'll set that down. So 1 goes here. Chronossus gains 2 victory points. The other goes here. Chronossus ignores penalties. Must be nice. So here's the 2 victory points. And I will now remember, because Chronossus placed at least 1 warp tile, we're going to roll this. If it's a 4, they take a quantum loop card. It's a 2. Okay. Let's keep going then. We start with the action rounds, and I am first. And so I'll start by taking a scientist and going to the... Well, I was going to go to the mines, but I guess it's not that urgent because Chronossus is not going to the mines anytime soon. Oop, and let's take this free action token back. I forgot it there. Let's see, what's more urgent? You know what? I am going to the mines. I've got too much hinging on resources. So I'm going to send a scientist who acts as a genius. I'm going to go here and gain a titanium and a neutronium. And I think I will gain a second titanium with tectonic drill. So here's my 2 titanium. Okay, let's get rolling for Chronossus. Boy, that's a lot of suits over there. Roll, we've got a 4. So Chronossus is going to go adventuring. Let's take one of these. And we're going over here. And we'll add one of these. So an extra 2 power. And you know what? Last time I went there, I forgot to do the power upgrade. So obviously uranium is what it would use. I think even at that time, it may have only had uranium. So we'll definitely grab one of those. We'll give it the power up now. So it has 2 power for that token, plus another 2, and then 3. So that's 7 power total. It's still less than 9. So we draw 2 cards from this deck. So 5 and 9 power. And then we roll the power die. So it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So it's got enough to take this one. So it will, and this goes to the bottom of this stack. This one will disappear into the ether after it gains its 3 resources. All right, so this goes away, and then we need to power this up. So it has multiples of everything, but that's the one it's going to prioritize. So now its power level goes up by another 2, and then we can advance the 4 token, oops, but not without also adding a power core to the bag. 1 charged up energy core goes back into here. Okay, man, just brutal. So now I'll take this free action. I'll spend a water. I'll get 2 flux cores off of my fracture device. And then for my main action, I will blink. I think. Am I going to blink? Nah, I'll just send... Do I send a scientist? Do I blink? Yeah, you know what? I'll blink. I will blink this suit over to here. Scientist comes back. And because I was a scientist, I'm gonna take this gain a technology action, and because I was a scientist, I gained a discount. So I only have to spend 1 uranium, and I'm gonna take fusion reactor here. So every time I build a lab from now on, it'll cost me 1 uranium less and 1 water less, and then at the end of the game, I get 1 extra victory point for each lab I have. So obviously, having 3 labs is part of my evacuation, so I'm kind of motivated to do that anyway, and now I can save a little bit of resources as I work on that. So I think that made sense. Let's have Chronossus go now. And by the way, I purposely did not add an energy core to that exosuit because it's on a sideboard and cannot jump off. All right, we've got a 4 again, so Chronossus is going to construct a factory. So let's grab a suit. We're going to the construct space, add an energy core. This suit is blink ready. This one's worth 1 victory point, and this one's 2. So they're taking the 2. And we advance, and it is an auto leap space. So now Chronossus will remove this. I guess before they do, they're going to roll a die to determine which space they're going to take. So this is going to be circle, triangle, square, just increasing the number of sides from left to right. What is it? Triangle. Okay, so they're going to take that middle spot. They do have a blink ready suit, so let's draw a token out of the bag, and now we could get either or. I think the odds are pretty close. We've got a charged core, so they are going to blink. So this suit is no longer blink ready. It's going to take up this middle spot, remove a hypersync tile from a past era, and then Chronossus gains 2 victory points for that, just like I would. So there's 3 here. Let's replace it with a 5. And that action tile also says Chronossus should gain another energy core, so that's not what I needed. Now we advance the 4 token again. Okay, back to me. And while that construct space is open, I'm going to send a scientist there who acts as a genius for me. So I'll go there so I still get the 1 titanium discount. I'm going to build a lab with also a uranium discount and a water discount. So instead of the cost being a uranium, 2 titanium, and 2 water, it will be 1 titanium and 1 water, and that's it. So that's pretty nice. I'm going to take this one. This one can hold 2 glitches on it. If you put glitches there, then they don't do any negative effects gameplay-wise, but they are still worth negative victory points at the end of the game. But that one was worth 4 victory points, and this one was only worth 2, and I think I'm pretty desperate for the points right now, so that's why I took that. But now we go back to Chronossus. Let's roll. We have a 4 again, so that is a mining action. So I'm glad I defensively took that neutronium. I will use it, I think. I think the one I warped in I'm going to use here to get rid of my anomaly, and then the second one I can use to pay back that one I warped in. But that was a good blocking action, so Chronossus does not get 5 victory points now. So let's grab a suit, and we go to the mines, and where do they go now? I mean, they've got 3 uranium, 2 gold, and 1 titanium. So I think I'm going to send them here and have them take a gold and a titanium. And I know they prioritize the top space, but I think Chronossus probably wants to build up things that it has less inventory of. That makes sense to me anyway. So this is a blink ready suit here. That was a 4, so we advance the token. Comes back to me now. So I am going to take this scientist, my last awake worker. I'm going back to the mines, and I'm going to take a uranium, a gold, and with tectonic drill, I'll take a titanium. So here's the titanium and the uranium, and Chronossus goes again. So let's roll. We have a 5. What is that going to be? That is going to be the recruit action. Oh man, that was one of the other top options for me. But Chronossus does have a blink ready suit, so let's see. Maybe Chronossus will blink there. I guess that doesn't help me at all. I don't really want them to blink there. Then they'll be stuck there. I don't want them to blink actually, but they do. So they're gonna blink to here. Get rid of this and recruit. Oh man, a scientist. So this is just bad all around. So Chronossus always gains a victory point for recruiting. That scientist is gone. I would have liked to have that scientist. And now they have one worker in each of these slots here, so they all go away, and Chronossus gets 5 victory points. So here's 5 more points for Chronossus. Advance the 5 token. Okay, now what am I going to do? Well, first I'm going to place one of these and wake up all my workers. I need them awake to do things. And I'm going to take a scientist and go do the research action before Chronossus rolls a 5 and takes that spot from me. So I can gain a breakthrough, and I'm not even sure it matters to me what type it is. I just need it so I can score. So maybe I'll set it to not circle since I've used that already. Let's set it to set it to triangle and roll something. Question mark. Okay, whatever triangle I want. Well, I like this quantum loop privileges of the multiverse, which requires a military. So I'll get a military triangle. So I've got one of these now. And Chronossus goes again. So let's roll. We have a 3. Chronossus will build a life support. And Chronossus has no blink ready suit, so they're just going to send a suit in the normal way, as one does, to construct a life support building. 3 victory points, 1, so they'll take the 3. And that's their 3rd and final life support building then. And this suit is blink ready, and I am really needing some flux. I'm going to take an engineer, get in this suit, and take this action, and take 2 flux, and the engineer gains an energy core. Otherwise, I'm going to be out of actions real fast. So that was my turn. Now Chronossus goes again. We roll a 4. So Chronossus wants to construct a lab. No, and I did not want Chronossus to construct. They will become first player, and it's not really what I wanted. So having that choice of first action is really nice. So the only blink ready suit is here, which cannot blink to take a construct action because that doesn't make any sense. So this suit is coming up here. We're going to swap the first player banners. Okay, and that is a blink ready suit. So place that there. I suppose it could blink away later. But Chronossus is building a lab. These are each worth 2 victory points. So they prefer the secondary stack, which is now empty. So fewer options for me as someone who needs another lab. And now we advance the 4 token. And it's back to me now. And I'm going to send an operator here to go back 1 era using a power plant and pay back this titanium to get this warp tile back. So that's a successful time travel action for me. And now Chronossus goes again. Let's roll. 4. Just rolling 4s. That's another adventure. So Chronossus can only do that if they blink. Let's draw from here. Oh, I guess they could pass. Yeah, we got a blank token, an empty flux casing. So the Chronossus will pass if it decides not to blink and it does not have any more exosuits to place. And then the command token does not advance. So Chronossus passes. Okay. So now I can just keep going and doing whatever I want. So I think, let me send an admin here and gain my 5 water. There we are, 5 more water. And next, I will blink. The question is, who's going to do the blinking? And I think it'll be this suit here is going to blink into this space. I am using my scientist as a genius, which is my leader ability. And now I can remove this tile from the timeline here. I gain 2 victory points. So here's the points, and that does not advance the time travel marker, unfortunately. So for my next trick, I'm going to send this admin here and spend 1 neutronium and 1 water. And now I can remove an anomaly, so it'll be this one. So it doesn't cost me in the cleanup phase, and I'll end up losing that admin. And now I'm going to use this hypersync action on the current era to recruit another scientist. And again, scientists were available this era, so they come from the supply. I get a scientist here. I still get the 2 water, so I'll take the water. And I was thinking I might build a lab, but I might as well wait till the next era and see what the next lab is since there's no secondary stack. So where else could I blink? Because I don't think I need to construct. I think it's either a blink from the mines to the valley over here and maybe get more flux cores and or energy cores, or I can blink off the main board and finally take an adventure action. What's my total power? I've got 3, and I would place my token there to get a 4th. That's not very much power. You know what? Forget it. Let's go adventuring. Let's place this here. I will use, I don't know, this scientist here, like this. And now I need to roll, and I could potentially get glitches this time. If I roll a 5. What did I get? A 3. Okay, so no glitches for me. That's good. And now I place a path marker here, so that'll give me 1 power. And I've got 2, 3, 4, so 4 power, and then I can draw 2 cards because I've got at least 1 sensors upgrade there. So I'm going to draw from the left stack. That costs 1 water to do. Draw my 2 cards, and then I need to pick before I roll, unlike Chronossus. So these are a 7 and a 9. Oh, these are both really not very helpful for me. I will never achieve these, or never use them anyway. So I guess I'll go with the 7 just to lower my chances of having to pay penalties. This was a bust. Okay, so now I need to roll. So I've got 4 power. I need to roll at least a 3 on here. So 2/3 chance of victory. 4. Okay, so 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I do have enough power for the left side of this, which is never going to come into play. So it says at the end of the game, the highest space on the morale track is worth 4 additional victory points for me. I am pretty far from the highest space on the morale track, and I'm pretty sure I forgot to decrease it this time. So that's great that this space is worth 11 now instead of 7, but that's not going to do anything for me. So I definitely wasted that action. And that is going to be it for my turn. So I definitely would have been better off going over here and getting a couple more flux cores and an energy core. So I'm going to live with that now. But we're in the cleanup phase now. So I'm going to do all the cleanup stuff, but we're also at impact. So I will do the impact things. It's going to be a decent amount of setup. And then I will see you in the paradox phase of era 4 post impact. So stick with me. Here we go. All right, so we are at the beginning of Era 4. We are post-impact. The 2 locations where I got additional collapsing capital tiles are here and here. And then we've got the supercharged tiles here. I've lost these 2 exosuit bays. I feel like there's just an incredible amount of stuff going on, and I'm having a hard time keeping track of it. I am good and overloaded. So we're going to roll for paradoxes now, and we're tied 2-2 here, but then I've also got hypersync tiles. So that means I need to roll. Chronossus doesn't. And then I have the most hypersync tiles, so I need to roll twice. Chronossus does not roll at all. I don't love that. So at least I have no paradoxes currently. Let's roll twice. A couple of blanks would be appreciated. Hey, okay. 1 blank. Oh, 2 blanks. No way. Okay, well, that was nice. That was in my favor. So now we power up, and Chronossus is first. We're post-impact, so they start with 2 suits and can have a maximum of 4. So we draw 3 tokens from the bag. And we've got a charged suit, or a charged core. And another charged core, so that's a maximum of 4 suits. We draw the 3rd token. And I've never run into this scenario before where I've drawn more than the max. So I think all 3 of them still get eliminated, but the Chronossus cannot have more than 4 suits. And that's how I'm going to play it anyway. So I'm going to go back to Path of Harmony for Chronossus. All right, and now I need to power up. I get 1 for free, so let's take the 1. And now what am I going to do? Well, I'm definitely going to get another 1. Let's spend this energy core. And we'll put 1 here. I need more suits than that. I have no flux cores to boot. Jeez. Well, let's spend a uranium, I think, and get another suit that way. and then I gain 1 water. So here's the water, and now we go into the warp phase. So if Chronossus places no tiles and I place 2, I can get that double. If they place 1, like they likely will, I get the double and a victory point. And I only get burned if they place 2, then I get a victory point and a paradox. But I think I'm going to take that chance, and I'm going to do a quantum loop, and I think another suit. That makes me a little nervous, but okay, I'm going to do those 2. Let's roll and see what Chronossus does. So Chronossus will place, how many warp tiles? Hopefully 1. Good chance for 1. 1. Okay, perfect. So here's 1 for Chronossus, who places first, and because they placed at least 1, let's roll again, and if it's exactly 4, then they gain a quantum loop. It is a 4. So I take the rightmost quantum loop, that's this one, Future Blueprints, and they don't interact with it in any way, it's just out of the game now. Now I can place my 2 warp tiles. Oh shoot, what am I going to do with that double though? I can't take 2 quantum loops, I can't take 2 suits. Here. I should have thought ahead a little better. I'm going to swap those, forgive me that please. I'll take 2 scientists, so I'll spend 2 water for that. Would have caught that if I was paying a little bit better attention. There's 2 scientists, and then here's the quantum loop, and that gains me a victory point. So that goes there, and I'm going to take this one, Privileges of the Multiverse. 1, because I want the action, and 2, because I know I can pay it back. It takes this military symbol, which is, I believe, why I took this symbol to begin with. So I can immediately take a capital action as if I had taken it with a genius. So I'm going to take the research action, and I'm going to set the shape to square, and then I'll roll for the symbol. So I've got the genetic symbol. So that sounds pretty good to me. Let's take that. And now I just have this until I pay it back. And now we go into action rounds, starting with Chronossus. So we need to roll. Here we go. 5. So Chronossus is going to research. You're a real stinker, Chronossus. I really wanted that action, or that tile space. I'm not going to get it now. So that goes there, and Chronossus needs to roll these. And this is a blink ready suit. So let's roll. And we have Circle and Society. So Chronossus gains a breakthrough, advance the 5. And now it's my turn. And I'm going to take a scientist and treat them as a genius, as my leader ability says I can. And I'm going to send a suit here. And because I'm treating him as the genius, I'm going to take 1 energy core and 2 flux cores. So here's an energy core, here's my flux cores. Now Chronossus can go again. So let's get the die and roll it. 4. So Chronossus is going to go adventuring, and I suspect they'll be more successful than I was. So let's see if they blink to get to that adventure board. Let's get the draw bag here. Draw a token out. And yes, they will blink. So they will go from here to here. And this tile's gone. This one flips over now. Reveal what that is. Okay, construct a super project. It's fine. Is that even the right thing? Yeah, okay. Sure. So we throw a Chronossus path marker here. So they get +2 power on top of 2, 2, and 3. So Chronossus is up to 9 power. So that means they're going to take from the 10 plus deck. So draw 2 cards there. 1. Oh man, I want that. 2. And now we roll the power die. So they're starting at 9. 10, 11, 12. It's not enough for either of those. So in that case, Chronossus just gains 1 victory point and then returns both of these to the bottom of the deck. All right, and now this action tile says we also add 1 energy core to the energy core bag, and then we advance the 4 token. Now it's my turn, so I am going to take a scientist and a suit, and I'm going to go here to recruit, and this will advance my morale track. I could use that. And I'm going to recruit another scientist. treating my scientist as a genius, of course. So this scientist comes here. I gain 2 water. I think that was a pretty nice bonus. And now Chronossus goes again. We need to roll 4. So Chronossus, oh man, this is the big one. Chronossus is going to build a factory, and they have no blink-ready suits for constructing. So we're just going to go here. That's a nice spot too. Too bad. So of the 2 factories, this is 3 victory points. This is 1. They'll take the 3. And that's their 3rd factory, so they won't take another. Let's mark that that's a blink-ready suit, and then we advance the token, and it's an auto-leap space. So Chronossus would like to remove a hypersync tile, but doesn't have one to remove, so instead they will take a normal time travel action, remove that warp tile, advance this track, and... Come on, okay. Gain another energy core according to that action tile. So get her back, get another energy core, drop that in there. All right, and then advance the 4 token again. Okay, now I think it's time for me to send a scientist to the mines. And I will go here and take a uranium and a neutronium. And using tectonic drill, I'll also grab a titanium. Well, you know what? There's still a neutronium out there. I'm not really making a very defensive move. I'm trying to block Chronossus from gaining 1 neutronium and then getting 5 victory points for it. But I might rather have the uranium. Yeah, you know what? I don't feel awesome about it, but I'm going to put that back and take a uranium for that instead. I just think it's what I need to do. So now we're back to Chronossus. We roll again. 2. 2 is recruit. Come on. I'm losing all the action spaces I want. Let's see if Chronossus jumps to that action. No, we got a blank. So we need a new suit. Going here. They don't gain the operator, but I would have liked to. And this is a blink-ready suit, and they will recruit a genius and gain 1 victory point. Okay, that was the 2 token, so let's advance it to here. And I'm going to start with this free action. Spend a water, remove 2 flux cores from the fracture device. And we can cover that up now. And now I think I've got a blink. And so I will blink from here. So this tile collapses. And I will go to here. Nope. Can't do any of this. I'm in the wrong era. Not focused in the right spot. Okay, so I did this. I did not add my flux core. So this was my free action. That's still fine. I guess instead I will time travel, and I will go back up to 2 eras. So let's go back to here, and we'll pay back this neutronium. Get this warp tile back. That was a successful time travel, so I can advance this. And that's all. That was my turn. So now Chronossus goes again. Let's roll 2 again. So Chronossus would like to research. And let's see if they're going to blink. There's 3 tokens left in here, so one of them could blink. But not this time. That's a blank. So we're going to send this suit here. And it is blink ready. And they are researching, so we're going to roll these. So let's see what we get. Circle and time travel. So that's another breakthrough, goes right here. And then we advance the 2 token again. And now it's back to me. And as you've probably surmised, I'm going to spend this flux token to blink this suit to this space. This tile collapses. I'm using my scientist as a genius, like I can. They come back tired now. So as a genius, they're being an administrator. And I can take this hypersync tile back from my focused era and gain 2 victory points for it. And I've got 3 here. I've got 4 here. So let's take 3, replace them with a 5. Okay. That was my turn. So now Chronossus again. 3. Chronossus would like to retrieve a hypersync, but doesn't have one to retrieve, so that's just going to be a normal time travel, just your run-of-the-mill standard time travel. So we take this warp tile off, advance that track, and Chronossus gains 1 victory point, just because of the action tile. And it's back to me. And I'm just looking at my evacuation conditions. I've got 7 scientists and 2 breakthroughs. So I need a breakthrough more than I need a scientist right now. Oh, and I did not roll for a glitch on that last blink, but there's 5 spaces here. Like I can't roll more than a 5, so no glitch. But I think I am going to blink again, and I will have to roll this time. So I think I'm actually going to blink this suit to here. I'm going to construct. So I'm going to go here. This scientist is acting like a genius. And that kind of sounded facetious. I meant it. Is acting like a genius. And what do I need to do? I need to add a flux token here and roll these 2 dice. So if I roll a 5, I'm going to get some glitches. 3. No glitches for me. That's been good. So I get to construct and then take an extra construct action. So for the first construct action, I'm going to build my last lab. So I need, and I've got a 1 uranium, 1 water discount. So I only need 1 uranium, 1 titanium, 1 gold, and 1 water. Oh man, and I'm missing stuff left and right. All right, let's take this lab. That's the one I'm going to get. I could take another action, but I also forgot when I did my hypersync, my supercharge action, I can gain another suit, and I am certainly going to do that. So I've got another suit to use as well. All right, so what is my second construct action going to be? I can afford, because I took that uranium, another life support, so I might as well. So that's 1 uranium, 1 titanium, and 1 water. Building with a scientist genius, and I'm purely going for points here. I don't really need the water, so I'm going to go for this one because it's 2 points and this one is 1. I was hoping I'd get some more points than that, but there we go. So that was kind of a big move. I got some points there, got a little bit closer to evacuating, and then this spot lets me get another suit, so that's helpful too. So let's roll for Chronossus again. We have a 3. Chronossus is going to take the assimilate action if they can blink there, because they have no more suits. Certainly could blink. They've got 3 blink-ready suits. There's only 2 tokens in here, so 50-50 chance. Yes, they're going to blink. So they can blink from research, recruit, or construct. What do they have? They have 2 construct actions there. No researching or recruiting coming up. So they're going to do this to try and free up that space. That's the way the rules go anyway. In reality, this tile is going to collapse, so it doesn't really matter. But they're blinking 2 here, and now we need to roll a shape die to see how that turns out. That barely made it in. We got a square. Okay, so on square, Chronossus either recruits an operator and gains a flux core, or takes a technology card, whichever it has fewer of, operator if tied. Well, Chronossus has 1 technology card and no operator, so it's going to take a technology card and gain a flux core. So here's the operator. And then they'll get a flux core plus another flux core and a victory point. And here's 4 points, so let's replace these with a 5 and then get 2 flux cores. Here's the 5, and here's the cores. And we advance the 3 token. And it's back to me. And I would like to research, and I see Chronossus is not going to though, so this spot is going to be available next time, and I'd rather save it in case I do get some paradoxes, although I guess it doesn't really matter, because we're going to roll for paradoxes at the beginning of the next era, and then after that, it doesn't matter how many I have left. So yeah, I am going to take a scientist, get in this suit and take this research action, and I may as well get a different shape, right? Let's go for a circle. Okay, and we'll roll the other one. Or you know what? I'm going to spend this triangle. Let's get another triangle and roll this. Right? Is that what I want to do? Wait, I'm still thinking. Maybe, you know what? I'm going to get a different symbol. Yes, I am. Let's go technology. I don't have a technology symbol. Let's get another, roll the shape die. Square. Okay, technology square. Here we go. Because my thought is towards the end of the game, I need all these breakthroughs to evacuate, but afterwards, I might rather put them on some of these spaces to get victory points out of them. So 2 victory points there, 2 every time I advance this. So I'm just trying to figure out how I might be able to best use these. So back to Chronossus, we need to roll 5. So Chronossus would like to construct, but they don't have a new suit to send. They're going to have to blink to construct and take that first player spot. So let's see if that's what they do. They've got a good chance. Oh, no, they got the blank. They are choosing not to blink. So in this case, Chronossus will pass. So now I can just go unimpeded. Oh, and you know what? Here, I'm going to take this free action. So let's lower the morale and wake everybody up. That'll give me a lot of options here. So I got all these workers. Let me send this one engineer here. I'm going to lose them, but then I gain a suit and 2 water. So now I've got another suit to play with, a couple of water. And I'm going to do what I should have done at the end of the previous era. Take a scientist, put them in the suit, go here, spend 2 water to go there. And treating my scientist as a genius, I'm going to treat that genius as an engineer and gain an energy core, and then I'll choose to take 2 flux tokens. All right, that'll be helpful. And then I will place one of these hypersync tiles to do a recruit action, and I'm going to gain a scientist. So they come from the supply, and I gain 2 water. Really doing pretty good on water this game. And you know what? This is probably helpful. Let's send a scientist to this power plant, go back up to 3 eras. So I'm just going to go back to here again, and I'm going to spend this flux core to retrieve that warp tile. Now I can advance my time travel track. That's helpful. What else can I do? I don't really need to, but I don't see why I wouldn't. Let's send an admin here just to gain the 5 water. I've got enough water at this point. I'll take the dark one for 5. And I could blink. I could blink this suit to somewhere. I could even blink it because when I leave that spot, it'll collapse. I can blink it up to the first player spot and gain another research, but I don't really want to be first player going into that era. So the only other place I'd really blink it is to the mines to get resources. I don't think I need any resources now. I don't see anywhere good to blink anyway to risk getting these glitches. So I think I will pass, and then I will do the cleanup phase, and then we've got 1 era left, and we're going to find out how this thing ends. And I think it'll be poorly, but we'll find out together. So stick with me as we clean up and prepare, and then go to the final era of this game of Anachrony. Let's go. All right, I finally made it through the preparation phase, and we are ready to roll for paradoxes. And that is just going to be me again, because I've got the most warp tiles, plus I've on the only era that has any, and then I've also got the most total hypersync tiles. So I need to roll twice. Chronossus will not roll at all. So let's get these out of the way. I think I'll be okay, even if I don't double blank again. So we've got 1. And a blank. Wow. Okay. So 1 paradox token, and I might as well place it down here on this space. And man, Chronossus never got an anomaly this whole game, huh? And I don't know why I'm placing it there. It doesn't matter. Let's place it up here where you would normally look for it. So now we go to the power-up phase. Chronossus is first, so we need to draw. Chronossus starts with 2 suits, has a maximum of 4. We draw 3 tokens. An exhausted energy core, a powered energy core, and a powered energy core. So the exhausted one goes back in, even though we won't be drawing again. So Chronossus will have 4 suits again this era, and we're using Path of Salvation again. I really like the way those minis look. Those might be my favorite of the painted ones I'm using today. And now I need to power up, and I will take this free one. I will spend 2 energy cores and gain 2 more suits. And then I gain 1 water. I've got no other options. So let's take a water. I wish I drew one of the have a bunch of water end game objectives. I don't even know what I have here. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Wow. Let's take another 5 out of here just so I can see what the heck is even going on. Okay. So there's my 17 water. And now we're in the warp phase. Chronossus is going first. If Chronossus does blank, does 0, then I'm going to be really upset because I'm going to have to lose a worker. But as long as Chronossus does 1, then I can gain a victory point. If Chronossus does 2 and I place 2, I can double something. So I'm going to do 2, and I'm going to do 1 exosuit. And if I can double something, I'll double this flux core. So let's roll now for Chronossus. Whoops. Oh, and I do need to draw another quantum loop card. There we go. Time loop amplifier. What does that do? Yeah, that's kind of wild, but I don't think I want to do that right now. So let's roll for Chronossus. Come on, 1 or 2? 1. All right, I will take 1. So Chronossus places a warp tile here. I will gain 1 suit, 1 victory point, and 1 flux core. So flux core, victory point. Let's get the suit. Here is the 4th exosuit, okay. And now, if Chronossus rolls a 4, they gain a quantum loop card. 2. Okay, no quantum loop. And we are in the action round, so we got to roll again for Chronossus's action. Let's see what we get. Do not recruit. They're not going to recruit, right? Nope. None of those actions really... Well, I'd rather they go to the mines. That's it. I want them to roll 4 and go to the mines. Oh, then they'll gain 5 victory points for sure. I don't want them to do anything, because if they construct, they'll take that spot there, and I would like to use it to gain more breakthroughs. But yeah, I won't like any of these options. I don't think there's a pass. I don't think they can roll pass. 5. All right. Chronossus is going to construct, and they would like a power plant. So they're going to go here to construct a power plant. This is a blink ready suit of the power plants. This one's worth 1, this one's worth 2, so I take this one. That is their 3rd power plant, so they don't gain another, or they can't gain another after this. That was a 5. Oh boy. And now we go up here. Oh yeah, but that is not an auto leap space. I declined to do that because I was afraid of it. So what am I going to do? I think I'm going to take a scientist and go to the mines as a blocking measure. So I don't even really care what spot, I don't think. I don't think any resources really matter to me right now. So I just don't want Chronossus to get neutronium, so I guess I'll go here. I'll take a uranium and a neutronium and a gold, just so I have a little variety. Again, with the extra coming from Tectonic Drill. So now it's Chronossus's turn. Let's roll again. I would like it if they blinked out of that spot. Sooner the better. 4. The mines. Okay, looks like I made a good choice by taking that last neutronium. Let's see if Chronossus blinks. Oh, we got to throw these blinks back in the bag, though, don't we? So I think there's 5 flux cores in here. I would really like it if Chronossus blinked. We have, yes, they are blinking. We've got a purple flux core. So Chronossus will blink from here to the mines, to the highest available spot, since none of it really matters. They're going to get a gold, and I suppose, I don't know, none of it matters. I'll have them take a titanium, since that's what they've got the least of. Okay, and that was a 4, so we've got to advance it. And while I've got the opportunity, I think I need to go to that capital space, and I'm actually going to do this with an operator. I'm going to take an operator and go here. That's going to cost me 2 water. There's no more eras, but I do become the first player, so let's just take it. And I'll perform the research action now. And I don't have the time travel symbol, so we're going to set 1 die to time travel. There it is, and roll for the shape. So let's see what we get. Square. Just squares all day. So there we go. Time travel square. That was my turn. Chronossus goes again. 4. So Chronossus would like to construct, but there's no available spot. So instead, they'll construct using hypersync. So we place a tile here, and they can construct, what did I roll? A 4? A lab. This one's worth 2, this one's worth 1. So they take a lab. And Chronossus has no more construct actions available because they've got 3 of each of these buildings. They can only construct super projects. So for my turn, I'm going to take this free action, spend a water, and remove 2 flux cores from my fracture device. That'll be first. And then I will place a scientist in one of these suits, and I will go here to recruit, and I can recruit and then recruit again. So I'm going to recruit, again, my scientist acting as a genius. I'm going to recruit 2 scientists. I'm going to do scientist and then scientist again, and I gain 4 water for that. So here's my water, and Chronossus is up again. So we need to roll 3. Chronossus would like to construct a super project, but there are no construct spaces available, and they've already placed a hypersync tile. So normally that would be a failed action, but the way that I've got it set up, Chronossus will instead go to the adventure board. So let's grab a suit and go over here. And here's a power token, so 2 power plus, I forgot to do this again last time. Let's give Chronossus a gold. I always forget that step. So they've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 is their starting power level. So we're going to grab 2 of these. That's an 11, and that's a 14, and then we roll for power. So they're starting at 12. We rolled a 3, 13, 14, 15, and these thresholds are 11 and 14. So we'll take the 14. The 11 goes back to the bottom of the deck. And the 14 says what? 3 water, and then what? Do that 2 more times? Yeah, it's just going to keep adventuring. So for the water, it says instead of receiving water, it receives 1 victory point for every 2 water, rounding up. So it's going to get 2 victory points for that. So here's 2 victory points. And then it can take 2 more adventure actions. And this one's a little bit dicey rules-wise. But I'm going to play it with maximum difficulty because, I mean, that symbol does match that symbol. So before I forget, well, we'll keep going here. So we're going to do that action again. So the second part of that action is to try and upgrade that if we can. And we don't have any resources, so we put this here as a marker. It's not actually worth any victory points, that it adds 2 power. And now Chronossus is going to take the action again. So I suppose they place another one of these path markers. So that's a +1. And then we've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Geez Louise. Okay, so we're going to grab 2 more of these. Starting at 13. 11 and 13, so I don't even have to roll. They're going to take this one. This one goes to the bottom of the deck. And then they gain 4 gold and 2 victory points. So here's the victory points, and here's the ridiculous amount of gold. And then as the second part of that action, we add another 2 power here. And now Chronossus will take its last adventure action. We place another path marker right here. So that's a 0 modifier, but then the total is 2, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 is where we're starting from. Draw 2 cards, 16 and 16. Okay. So we've got to roll at least a 2 for Chronossus to be able to get one of these. We rolled a 6. That'll be enough. And there is no tiebreaker in the book, so we'll roll this die. And we'll make this 2 or 3, 4 or 5. Whoa. Let's try that again. Keep it there. 5. All right, so we're going to take the one on the right. Man, this is just... what a turn. So that's going to be 3 energy cores and 3 victory points. So we'll start with the victory points. There's 4 singles here. Let's take 2 back and replace them with a 5. Here we go. And then 3 energy cores for goodness knows what purpose. Let's put them in the bag. And now all these cards get discarded. I guess I'm glad they're not worth extra at the end. And then 1 more victory point according to that action tile. So that goes there. And we do need to add 1 more power token here. So that was wild. Let's do this. Okay, that was a lot of stuff. So for my next move, I'm going to take a scientist, go to this suit, and I'm going to go to the mines again. And I'm going to have to take a titanium, I guess. So 1 titanium. I'll take 1 I'll take that uranium, and I'll take a gold with my tectonic drill. And I've got a plan for that, I think. But now Chronossus goes. We roll. Watch it be a 4. We're going to adventure again. 3. Okay. Remove an anomaly. Chronossus does not have any, so that's a failed action. Play just gain a victory point and move the token. And now it's back to me. And I think before I go any further, it's time for me to evacuate because it's holding me back from doing a bunch of other stuff that I do need to do. Although, hold on, let me think about this for a second. Looks like I've got 10 scientists and only 4 breakthroughs. So before I do that, I'm going to use a hypersync and get 1 more breakthrough. And I've got lots of symbols. Let's vary up the shapes a little bit. Let's gain a circle and roll this. So I'm going to have a circular society, okay? Spent one of those already, but that's fine. Now back to Chronossus. So Chronossus is going to do something. 3. Chronossus would like to construct a life support, but Chronossus has 3 life support already. And so it would place a suit if it could, just to take a blocking action, but it can't. There's nowhere to put it. So then additionally, it's going to discard a suit. So let's do that. Gain a victory point for the failed action. So we're going to take these 4, replace them with a 5. I'm kind of trying to stall right now. I just want Chronossus to pass so I can do my work unimpeded by blocking actions. So let's send a scientist here. And we'll pay 4 water, 1, 2, 3, 4, and wake up the other workers that I have. That's a good stall tactic. All right, and Chronossus can go again. A 2 would be good, actually. 4. Another adventure, okay. You know what, that works fine too. Chronossus doesn't have any suits that can blink. So here goes the last suit. And path marker here on -1. So what is Chronossus's total power over here? We've got 3 and 3 is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, -1 is 15. So let's draw a couple of these. 14 and a 10. So we don't even need to roll. They're going to take the 14. And, oh man, I would have liked that one. It says 2 times you may research and set both of the dice. And for Chronossus, the dice don't really matter. I'm just going to roll both. So that's how the research action works. It doesn't have a preference. So triangle and genetics. So one of these, and then a second research. Kind of jealous of that card. Circle and society. I think I'm all out of that one. I got a circle society here and one here. And does Chronossus? Yeah, Chronossus has one as well. They're all in use. So I'm just going to re-roll that. Get something else. Circle question mark. Circle military. Okay. There you go. So now this card goes away. And that action tile says Chronossus also gains another charged energy core. Put that back in the bag. Doesn't really matter. Advance the 4 token. And now Chronossus still has things they could do, but they can't take any blocking actions because they're out of suits and they have no ability to blink. So I'm going to start by blinking from the mines with one of my scientists to the evacuation spot here. Let's take the scientist back. And I have met the criteria. I do have 3 labs, so that'll get me 6 points. And then every breakthrough and 2 scientists in total gets me 4 points. So let's count these. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 scientists in that pile. 7th and 8th, 9 and 10. And then I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these breakthroughs. So that's 5 full sets. So that's going to be 20 victory points plus another 6. So 26. So I think I turned that around pretty quick. Here's 5, 10, 15, 20. Why am I doing it like that? 20, 25, 26. Singles up there. Okay, this is looking a little better. And I'll put my path marker up there just for fun to show that I've evacuated, but I'm not going to forget, I don't think. So now Chronossus goes, roll again. Not much they can do, but we'll see. Yeah, of course they rolled a 3. Rolled a 3. So I'd like to remove a hypersync tile from a past era, but there isn't one. So they're going to take a normal time travel action, take this warp tile off the timeline, advance their time travel tracks all the way up to 12, and they're going to gain a victory point. So one of those right there. Okay, advance this, and back to me, and I'm going to blink. So I didn't roll for my last blink, but there were 5 open spots, so it didn't matter. Oh, but before I blink, I guess I've got more options now that I've evacuated. So let's start with this free action, and I'll place, I don't know, my genetics square right there, so this advances, opening up another spot. And now I will blink. So I place the flux core here. I'm going to blink this scientist to here. So I could roll, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm not going to roll more than a 5. So I'm going to use my scientist as a genius, and I'm going to gain a technology, pay full price, and then pretend using the genius that I've got an admin, so I gain another flux core. So here's my flux core, and I'm going to pay 2 uranium to take this secret project technology. So one time when I do a construct action, I can build a super project off to the side of my player board, not on here. And then at the end of the game, each super project is worth 2 victory points. Oh, and the super project that I do build, I can spend 1 less breakthrough when I do it. So that's pretty cool. So we'll put that, I don't know, here. It's super crowded. I know. I'm sorry. Maybe we'll put it here. That's nothing. That's a anomaly I got rid of. This is useless. I'll just turn it sideways. Okay, so Chronossus is still going, though I'd prefer if it passed. Oh, and again, I blinked. I didn't roll because there's still 5, so I'm not going to roll more than 5. I think I did say that, but I do need to bring this scientist back. Okay, let's roll for Chronossus. 4. All right, 4 is a construct action, and all the spots are taken, and Chronossus has no suits and no ability to blink, so Chronossus finally passes for the game. And now I can go nuts. So let's put a scientist, just one scientist here. We'll time travel back to this era, and let's pay back this quantum loop card with this military breakthrough here. So I get this tile back. That's a successful time travel action. And now I can go again. And so we'll time travel, whoopsie, again up to 3 eras back. We'll just go here and we'll pay back 1 scientist from an active column. Get this warp tile back, advance my time travel track again. Oh, and I forgot earlier, when I woke everyone up, I did not advance this morale track. I should have done that. Okay, that will probably not matter, but there it is. So now I'll send a scientist here, and I gain a suit, an exosuit, and 2 water. And I'll just lose that worker at the end of the game. But there's the exosuit. Here's the 2 water. And now I'll put an admin in this exosuit, and I will go here to take this hypersync tile back. I gain 2 victory points. Oh, and I already have 3, so let's make those a 5. Okay. And what else do I get? I can have a genius or another suit. Let's take the suit. This is the 6th and final one. They are piece limited. So we're going to spend this flux core here, and I don't need to roll because I am going to blink with this operator. And I guess I'll come to here because I don't really know where else to go. Oh, I guess I could go here. Let me think about that. Yeah, you know what? Let's go here. We'll spend the water, and this guy comes back, and I'm going to recruit an operator into this column. Ooh, no, I won't because I messed some stuff up. I don't know if there was a better way to do this, but I messed up. All right, let's put this guy back. I'm not going to recruit that guy. Instead, I'm going to blink to here, and I just pick either or. I'm going to take the 2 flux cores. Or, I got to back all this up. Man, I messed up. Okay, I blinked from here with an operator. I am instead going to blink from here with this scientist to, this spot here. That's going to, I already paid the water. The scientist comes back acts as a genius, I'm going to treat them like a admin and gain a flux core here, and then recruit this operator. I think that'll work. Oh my gosh, yes, this is just barely going to work. Okay, so now, because I was a scientist, I do need to roll. There were 4 spaces there. So if I roll a 5, I'm getting a glitch. 2. Okay, I got lucky. I'm breaking my brain right now with the time traveling. So I'm going to blink again. This time I will use the operator, so I don't need to roll. I'm blinking to here. Operator comes back, and I am just going to gain 2 more flux cores. So I get these. Now I will put an operator in this suit and go here, which gets me 1 uranium. Oh man, that ain't going to work either. I'm not going to send an operator. I'm going to send a scientist. Shoot. Took 1 uranium. I've got to take a gold. And then with tectonic drill, I can take 1 more thing, and it's going to be another uranium. There we go. All right, this is going to get dicey, but I think it's going to be worth it. I got to make this work. So I'm going to spend a flux core. I'm going to blink this scientist from the mines back to here. That costs 2 water. And I've got a roll now, and I'm almost certainly gaining a glitch. If I roll anything but a 2. 4. Okay. So glitch on a exosuit bay. Not the end of the world. I'll figure out how to deal with that in a minute. But now my scientist up here, I'm treating like a genius. I'm taking a construct action. I'm going to do this, build a super project. I'm in this era. I had planned to be in this era, and now my resources didn't match. So I'm building this with a 1 breakthrough discount. So I don't need to pay the breakthrough, but I do need to pay 2 uranium. It's 2 titanium, but I'm acting as a genius, so 1 titanium, 1 gold, and 1 flux core. So I gain this super project just off to the side. That's pretty cool. And then the effect is when I increase my morale track with this action, for each flux core up here, it costs 1 less water. But that won't really have an effect on me. And then I could send this operator here to remove that glitch, but that's only minus 2 victory points. Instead, I'm going to send the operator here, spend 3 water, and then I need a different symbol. We'll use, there's a different symbol and shape. We'll do that. And now I can advance this, which gets me 2 victory points at the end, plus another 3 now. So that's the way to go. So 1, 2, 3, and I suppose this glitch, not that bay really affects me, but I could put it here, so it doesn't have any effect also. All right, this has been pretty mind melty. Is there anything else I can do? So this last era is looking pretty ugly. I'm going to lose some points on that, but I think this is the end. So I think we need to switch over to scoring. I don't have anything that scores based off of workers, so I'm not going to bother retrieving anything. There's really no purpose. So let's score it up. We'll start with me. Oh, no, actually, let's start with Chronossus. So I've got the purple scoring dial here for Chronossus. We'll start with victory points. We've got 10, 20, 30, 35, 36. Okay, 36. And then, oh boy, what else? Let's do time travel track. That's another 12, so 38, 48. What do we have here for breakthroughs? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and we don't have any sets. 1, 2, 3, 4, so that's at 52. And then we've got a super project here as we're 6, so that's 58. And then let me move some of these buildings around. So this technology card up here is 3, so 58, 59, 60, 61. I'll just go through these buildings. We've got 4, 2, 2, and then 2, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, and 3, 4, and 2, and 2. We're up to 91. I think that's it. Remember, these do not count. These are just representing power tokens there. Yeah, I think that's it. Not affected by any of this stuff, unfortunately. So 91 for Chronossus. That's a pretty high score. Let me get my yellow dial here for Path of Progress, and we'll start with my tokens as well. I've got 10, 20, 30, 43. Pretty good start. Anyway, got a long way to go to get to 91 though. Time travel track, I get another 14. So 57. Morale track is going to lose me 4. Down to 53. What else do I have? Oh, I'm going to lose 4 points for this hypersync here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm at 49. And lose 2 each for these because I don't have a suit or a flux core to pay back. So that's another 4. So I lost 8 points down to 45. So I've done the tracks, this, and this. Okay. What else? I've got 2 breakthroughs left. That's going to be 2 points. Up to 47. Then I've got 4 points here from my fracture device. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm up to 51. Might as well do buildings, right? So I've got 1, 2, 3, 1, and then I've got 6. 61. I've got 2, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2. What is that glitch going to do? That glitch is -2. I go down to 72. And I've also got that super project. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Each of my super projects is worth another 2. So I've got 2 of those. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is going to be close. I'm at 80. What else am I forgetting here? Oh, each of my labs is worth another 1. So 1, 2, 3. I'm up to 83. I am going to just barely lose this thing, I think. What else? What else? Just the endgame scoring conditions. I'm not scoring anything off this. I remember that. Well, let's look at those endgame scoring conditions anyway. So I have 2 super projects. That's a point. I don't have 3 breakthroughs left. Time travel track is at space 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 2 points. One thing I'm realizing I should have done, I should have sent a scientist here. I could easily spend the water. Could have spent one of these. That would have gotten me 1 more point. But I'm at 86. Even if I did that, I would have been at 87. This is 91. Oh, it's so close. Can I think of anything else I forgot to score? Unfortunately, I cannot. I think that's going to be it. So I'm at 86. If I had done this action a little different, it would have been 87. But Chronossus has 91, and I just couldn't quite get there. But man, what a ride that was. My head is going to explode. I do not recommend playing with that many modules simultaneously. I got some decent use out of quantum loops. I used hypersync a lot, but I barely interacted at all with Pioneers of New Earth with the adventure board over there. And when I did, it really messed me up. I should have done something else. And as suspected, I did not use the Sentry Post card over there at all. If you're wondering, if you don't have that promo card, the Sentry Post just, you can send a suit there, you can send any worker, there's no difference. And you take all of the free action markers off of your main player board, off of your buildings and your super projects, then you gain a victory point. So sometimes it's useful, but I didn't really need it this game. I didn't have any actions here that use those free action markers. But anyway, I hope you at least enjoyed watching, and I hope you got to see some of these new components in action. So again, those are available at Brain Bucket Games on Etsy, so you can find a link in the description. So the scoring dials come in a set of 5. These energy cores and flux cores come in 2 different sets. You can get just the Chronossus system, or you can get enough to play like a 4-player game if you want to do an add-on. And then there are the Paradox tokens as well, which are pretty great. I'm happy with the way those turned out. So don't forget about that. But let me know what you think in the comments. If you're still here and you had a good time, let me know by leaving a like and subscribing if you have not done so yet. You can always share this video with somebody else who'd like it, and I would love to hear from you in the comments. Anything you want to tell me about Anachrony, I am all ears. I would love to hear it. And I caught a number of mistakes as I went, did my best to rectify them. But if there's something that I still missed, even after the edit, and didn't put any text on the screen. If there's errors, just let me know in the comments. I would not be surprised because this was super, super complicated. So I'm really glad I did it, and I think now I'm glad I'm going to be putting it away. I'll keep it a little more reasonable in the future. But that's what I've got this time on Table for One, a mega game of Anachrony. Thank you so much for watching and sticking with me. Hope you had a good time. I know I did, and I will see you in the next video. Take it easy.